All right, so now let's talk about self-care. Self-care is a really interesting concept because when I first say the word self-care, most of you probably think, well, that's selfish, and I don't have time for self-care. I've got to run kids to meetings, I've got to do the dishes, make the food. I have too many tasks to do. I can't stop to take care of myself. And here's my thought for you. So many times as women, we're nurturers. We're told we're supposed to reach out and serve other people. We're nurturing. How often do we stop and nurture ourselves? We're told to love one another. And so we spend all this time loving and serving other people. How often do we stop to love ourselves? We're told to love others as we love ourselves. How can we do that if we're not spending some time giving ourselves some love? Self-care is so important. You can only lift people to where you are. You can't lift someone if you're on the edge of a cliff, and you can't say, hey, let me lift you up to this ledge above me. You just can't do it. However, you can lift people to where you are. Sometimes the best way to serve others, sometimes the best way to nurture others, is to be in a good place ourselves. If our cup is too empty, then we're doing others and ourselves a disservice. We're taking away some depth that could be there if we were really present. And we can't be really present if we have an empty cup. So, there's 4 different areas of self-care. There is spiritual self-care. There is mental and emotional self-care. Those are 2 different ones, but I always lump them together because it's a little hard to differentiate between the 2. And there's physical self-care. Usually when we talk about self-care, people think physical self-care. So let's talk about exercise. How often do we exercise? And then comes the guilt of, well, that's definitely something I could be better at, but I've never been good at it, so, well, I'm just failing at that. No. Physical self-care can take so many different ways to be used. So physical self-care, exercise is important. I do 15 minutes of yoga a day when I'm doing well. And it's just 15 minutes. And it's a way to kind of show my body, thank you for physically being there, for taking care of me. And so let me give you some time. Let me build some muscle. Let me give you some strength. Physical self-care can be running. It can be going for a walk. It could be taking a bath. How else is there a better way to say thank you to your body than just letting it relax? Getting a massage, that can be a form of physical self-care. Maybe painting your nails. I know someone that says sometimes in the winter she shaves her legs for self-care because that's all she has time for. However, she's doing it only for her. She's going to be wearing pants. I mean, how many of us really shave our legs in the winter, right? So she does it with intention. And the intention is the piece behind it that is so important. If you look back on your day and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I did go for a walk, I'll check, I'll count that. That doesn't have as much power as saying intentionally, I want to give my body some love. So I'm going to park as far back from the store as possible and walk right up to the front instead of parking as close up as I can. Those are all examples of physical self-care. There's great energy in doing some physical self-care. If we're in this slump, if we're in this place of just worn out and tired and exhausted, and all of a sudden we step into this new place of movement, of intention, our whole energy shifts. All of a sudden our body says, hey, wait a minute, she sees me. Wait a minute, I don't have to be in a slump. I'm getting some attention, I'm feeling some love. It has so much power. Let's talk about spiritual self-care. Spiritual self-care is really, depending on your belief system, it's really about connecting to your center. It's about being balanced. So for me, spiritual self-care can be as simple as listening to uplifting music. I'm a Christian. I like the Christian rock radio stations. I like to jam to words that inspire me. Spiritual self-care can be spending some time in prayer. Maybe spending some time in uplifting books, whether that's scripture or other speakers who just really speak to you and edify you. That can be spiritual self-care. And that is almost like asking for energy to come in through your crown chakra, right? To come in and fill us with light. really, that's the essence of spiritual self-care. It's purging out the negative energy, and it's asking, it's doing, making some sort of action to fill our bodies with light. There's such power in spiritual self-care. And again, it doesn't have to be huge. It can be very simple, such as listening to music, serving others, doing something that makes you feel edified, that makes you feel a little more full of light. That is spiritual self-care. And then we go to mental emotional. The very cool thing about mental emotional self-care is that it often kind of coincides with either spiritual or physical self-care. You can do them all at the same time. For example, yoga. Again, I'm going to go back to this because I love yoga. It rejuvenates me. It fills me with light. So I consider it a bit of a spiritual self-care. I feel like I'm connecting to my source, God, and letting Him fill me with energy, with light. I'm also stretching. I'm exercising my body, right? I can move around. I'm strengthening muscles, holding postures, breathing, giving your body some oxygen. That is physical self-care. And then the mindfulness piece, when you're in a posture and you're holding it and you're focusing on your breathing. When I think about mental and emotional self-care, what I really think about is giving your brain a break. How many of you, by the raise of hand, just go, 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 and your brain's like full speed ahead all the time? Let me see. I know, it's because you're moms, it's because you're wives, it's because of the roles we play, it's because you're women who nurture. It's in your natural characteristics to be nurturers. So, mental, emotional self-care is to give your brain a break. Is to say, thank you, brain, for running, keeping track of all of my tasks, of all of my to-do lists, of all the things that I need to do and think. And now, here's some time for you. It can be as simple, again, taking a bath can be a good way to do that, to just turn on some nice music and just give yourself permission. Again, that's that intentional piece. Give yourself permission to just take a break, to stop thinking, to just be at peace, to be still. Mental, emotional self-care can take the place of guided meditation. Is really incredible. You can do some mindfulness. It can be visualization. I'm a big visual person. So I might do a visualization of myself on the beach because that is my safe place. I can play in those waves in my head and jump around and smell the air. It is the place I go to. So visualizations can be really good. It could be just sitting down and watching your favorite episode on Netflix. Again, making sure it's with intention. So don't sit there and binge because that's just numbing out. And we've all done that, and it doesn't help, right? Yeah, I see a couple of nods. So, do it with intention. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch my favorite show for 20 minutes. I'm going to read this book just for fun, for no other reason than I want to do it, for 20 minutes. I'm going to not do the dishes today because I don't have a dishwasher and I've been sick all day, and I'm going to go to sleep instead. Sleep is a huge thing. It's big. Making sure you're getting enough sleep. It's physical self-care. There's so many aspects that when we talk about self-care, there's so many aspects, so many things you can do, and so many things I would guess you are already doing. You just need to start doing it with intention. Anybody have any questions about self-care? Okay. Well, then let's move on.